Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. Gonna wait for everyone to trickle in. Thanks, everyone, for joining. We're just waiting for everyone to trickle in here. All right. I think we're ready to kick things off. Hi, everybody, and welcome. While we wait for folks to trickle in here from the last session, feel free to share where you're tuning in from. I am streaming from Deal Room HQ in Boston, Massachusetts. I am going to kick it off by pulling in Mitchell from Higginbottom. And while I do that, I'll introduce myself. So my name's Liz. I'm an account manager on the customer success team here at Deal Room. And I'm joined today by Mitchell Garnett from Higginbottom. In our session today, we'll talk about how teams are navigating AI adoption across the deal lifecycle. Before we kick things off, just a reminder that this is an interactive session. We'll run some live polls and you'll get the chance to respond. And then Mitchell will share his insight and experience along the way. We definitely encourage you to use the chat to ask questions and be part of the conversation. And again, also feel free to use your to share your LinkedIn if you're looking to network and connect with other deal makers. I am throwing mine in the chat right now. All right, with that, I will pass things off to Mitchell to introduce himself.
Thank you, Liz. It's great to be here. My name is Mitchell Garnett, and I'm the Director of New Partners at Higginbotham Insurance. Higginbotham is an employee-owned independent insurance brokerage and financial services firm founded and also headquartered in Fort Worth, Texas. I sit in our Birmingham, Alabama office, but I spend most of my days on video calls with new partners all across the country as I shepherd them through the due diligence and deal close process. A little bit about the M&A with Higginbotham. We don't have an annual acquisition goal based on revenue or number of new partners we're trying to bring in, but rather we look for new partners that really match all four of our core values we have at Higginbotham, which are family to our employees, accountable to our clients, teammates to our carriers, and generous to our communities. We see growing agencies and brokers that would be a great culture fit. I want to thank Liz and the entire Deal Room team for having me today, and I'm excited to share my experience.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Mitchell, and thanks again for joining us. It is time to jump into our first poll. You should see the poll either in the top right blue tab or a teal pop-up on the bottom of the screen. All right. So the first question is starting simple here with, is your team currently using AI? All right. And as they trickle in, I am seeing pretty good split with yes all of the time and sometimes, only a few people never using it. All right, awesome. All right, so we're ending about 58% yes all the time, 37% sometimes, 4% never. Mitchell, I'd love to know how your team is using AI. Would you mind walking us through how you're doing it today and how often?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say our company is still in the adoption phase on AI. Certainly have seen over the past year or two more resources come in. At the beginning of this year, our company introduced a proprietary chatbot, AI chatbot, geared towards our business functions from the insurance side. It can access internal programs like our email, OneDrive, and other apps, our agency management system, and help with organization, pulling data information, cross-referencing comparison between different sources of information, and just really some of the day-to-day tasks that we see in our industry. So that was a big leap for us. In my role, really, as I mentioned, being on Zoom calls all day, hard to always be on focus. So having AI note takers on there with Zoom has helped me prioritize task lists and follow-up items that are discussed on those calls. So I certainly see it in my seat a lot, maybe more so than some others in our company. But that AI chatbot really has been a game changer for us internally at HIG.
That's really cool. And are you using it specifically pipeline, diligence, integration?
Yeah, absolutely. So as far as deal room goes, really our main focus with the AI usage is in the diligence process. The features that are in there is kind of really what we use, not necessarily in the pipeline, but that's something that we're extremely open to exploring here in the future.
More to come there. All right, awesome. Thanks for sharing. We're going to move on to question 2 here, being where do you think AI can have the biggest impact in M&A? So we have a couple options: deal sourcing and pipeline and development, diligence and document review, deal management and project tracking, and integration planning and execution. And we'll give it a few minutes here. Right. Looking at a pretty good split. I'm seeing diligence and document review definitely taking the lead, though. Awesome. While we finish those votes coming in, I think we're going to close it in a minute. But Mitchell, based on your experience, where would you say AI has had the most impact, and where's still some of that untapped potential and opportunity that you just mentioned?
Yeah, absolutely. As I mentioned, really utilizing in the data room, that's been the biggest help for us. The AI document intelligence, being able to review hundreds of thousands of files that we're getting from our new partners, cross-referencing those files, being able to search specific keywords or topics that we're really looking for. Not only myself, but our legal counsel, our HR team. With our new partners, again, they're uploading a ton of documents, and it's hard for us to know exactly which folder or which task everything went to. So being able to go directly in the data room and using that document intelligence has been extremely helpful. Being able to download those documents into our OneDrive, and then having our proprietary chatbot also being able to cross-reference those has been extremely helpful. Now, as far as untapped goes, I would say probably in the pipeline, the deal builder that I know Deal Room has, we have not utilized that probably for the reason that when we onboarded with Deal Room, they made it so seamless with taking our old school Excel template that we had that had about 120 diligence requests on there, 10 to 15 different tabs. That were already organized. We liked how it was built, but it was very mundane and a manual process for the new partner. Deal Room took that, already built out our entire template for a room, and which was awesome for us to be able to hit the ground running when we started in there. But because of that, the capabilities of the deal builder, I'm going in there, we kind of already have satisfied that. But again, it's a pretty general request list. So I'm interested to see how a deal builder can, depending on whether it's an employee benefits shop or a commercial insurance shop, a personal insurance shop, how they can kind of hone in on some of the requests specific to those industries and those agencies in the insurance industry. So that's probably one that we haven't really tapped in too much, probably not really a fault, but because of the onboarding experience we had with Deal Room and then getting us all set up on the front end.
We'll take the pat on the back there. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Quick follow-up there. Where would you want AI, or what would you want AI to do in the deal process that it's not quite there yet?
That's a good question. If you asked our legal counsel, they probably say to get the seller's attorney to respond in a more timely manner, so we can stay on track. But it might not be as far as AI can get right now. But to be completely honest, it's kind of the more you don't know what you don't know. So there's not really any area that I think our team would sit in there and say, hey, that's something that AI should be doing. That would really help. If you look at what Deal Room AI has already accomplished, I don't think if you look 12 months backwards, our team would say this is what we wanted to do. So everything is kind of a new experience for us. So I couldn't pinpoint anything specifically that I would say, hey, this is what we're missing out on right now.
Well, I see lots of thumbs up and some giggles coming through. So I think you have people thinking the same way. All right, awesome. We're moving on to poll number 3. What is the biggest barrier to adopting AI in your M&A workflow? So for those who are not using AI yet, what's stopping you? And then for those who are, what is your biggest challenge? We have getting buy-in from leadership, finding tools built for M&A versus generic AI, data and security, distrust, not sure where to start, and then other. And if you hit other, please respond in the chat. All right, I'm seeing a lot of data, security, distrust. And also finding tools built for M&A. All right, awesome. We've got a good split here. Mitchell, I'd love to hear your experience here. Were there any challenges getting started with AI?
One that I think was just the biggest one was just adoption, getting the team to trust it, getting the team to try to utilize it. I mean, a lot of people, if you asked around, I think a lot of people in a lot of different companies would say their day's already filled up. So try to test something that they don't know, or dive into something from a timing standpoint. That was probably the biggest one, is just getting it to it. But then once you get over that hurdle, you really don't face that same hurdle again. So I would say that just user adoption, it was the first challenge and probably the main challenge that we faced. And then really kind of what a lot of people agreed up with on the poll is just data security, and obviously with contract review and things like that. Our legal counsel attorneys are going to attorney, and they want to review it, get their own eyes on it, and everything like that. So really kind of just slow rolling into that process was big and took some time. But I think now that they've experienced that, those are all hurdles that we don't really see come up again. Those really are hurdles. Once you get over them, we keep moving forward. The user adoption has been huge. Now we're getting to the point where people are saying, well, maybe it can do this and maybe it can do that, rather than just seeing what's in front of them. So I think that user adoption piece was probably the biggest challenge that we faced initially.
Yeah, and following up on that adoption piece and the security, distrust, what finally moved your team from talking about AI to actually using it?
Yeah, great. Really, it was just continuous discussion. I mean, I from my seat on our team kind of dove into it. I thought it could be very helpful. I like to test things out, try new things. So I dove in, and then I was able to kind of relay to the rest of our team. I understand what their workload is, what their processes look like, and say, hey, here's where AI can help. I know that you're doing a lot of this, a lot of manual work here is on your plate. Here's where it can help, and not just saying, hey, you should try it out and generalize it, but being able to specifically outline it for our team members and what they're doing on a day-to-day basis was huge. So I think having kind of a champion, someone who could champion that and run with it, rather than just having a bunch of teammates that are running around, not really focused on what they're trying to accomplish, but having somebody kind of shepherd them through that process was big. So I appreciated our team being willing to do that. So I think that piece, but then also being able to look at, well, we are on calls a lot during the day. We are working with new partners, but there is some back end work that we're having to do. Of that back end work, a lot of it is is comparisons between documents, or taking what the new partner has sent us and putting it into a template that we already have. Those are obviously things that AI can knock out very quickly. And so when they see the impact that can have on saving them those times, so they can be client facing, new partner facing, as we'd say, then that adoption and those barriers to entry really kind of disappeared at that point.
Thanks so much for sharing, Mitchell.
Yeah.
We are moving on to our last question, everybody. We'll pull up the chat in a minute, or poll in a minute. How confident are you that AI will be embedded into your deal process within the next 12 months? So we have very confident, somewhat confident, not very confident, and unsure. All right. Votes are still coming in. It looks like very confident and somewhat confident are still at the top. Only a few votes for unsure and a few more for not very confident. All right, I think the votes have stopped coming in. We're good to go. Awesome. Well, thank you all for participating in the poll. Mitchell, as we close out, what's your honest advice to a team that wants to run a more disciplined buyer-led process with better tools and AI, but doesn't know where to start?
And this is kind of what brought us to Deal Room initially. I kind of hit on it earlier, but we used to utilize a virtual data room, an online data room. We had an Excel template or Excel doc for diligence items that we had in a unsecure SharePoint site, so that we could share it with new partners and internally with our team. And so the new partner was having to access a bunch of different resources to get us the information we needed. I would say if we got 70% of the items that we were requesting during the closing process, that was a win, which is obviously not what we're shooting for. We're not shooting for 70%. So being able to find a resource that can put all that in one. The main goal when we started looking into potential programs and really ended up with Deal Room was, how can we make the new partner's experience better? Obviously, it's a huge positive that it made our experience better internally at HIG, and it saved a lot of time for our team. But also, that's their first interaction. That's their first really connection with Higginbotham and what it's like. And so looking back and saying, hey, how can we make this experience better? Starting with the new partner was the first thing that got us to where we ended up choosing Deal Room. So I would say, take a big step back and not focus on, hey, how can our team save time? How can our team be more efficient, even if it's to the detriment of the new partner or the seller, the person the agency you're acquiring. So looking at that and seeing how it can be a win-win-win for all parties involved would be my main advice. And then really not saying, hey, we've always done it this way, we're only looking for these certain items, but being open to all the things that are out there. There's a lot of things, again, you don't know what you don't know. There are areas in Deal Room that we never even had in our process that we could have manually done and have saved us time and resources in it, and it's been huge there. So I would say go into it with an open mind, but more importantly, look at it from the new partner's point of view, because I know for us at HIG, 75% of our new partners we acquire are referrals from previous new partners. Having this be the first interaction with Higginbotham is huge, and it's kind of laid the groundwork for our new partner outlook in years to come. And so being able to make that a great experience, get the information we need, the information our legal counsel needs, what we need to do to stay on timeline, to hit the closing timeline, but also making a fantastic experience for the new partner was our main goal.
Awesome. That's great, Mitchell. Appreciate it. Well, thank you, Mitchell, and thank you all for participating. We are going to wrap up our session by opening it up for Q&A. We have about 5 minutes, so please drop your questions in the chat, and we will answer a few before we close. All right, looks like Becky found one here. Mitchell, how can AI improve the seller experience?
Yeah, absolutely. So One of the big things with Deal Room's AI is the document organizer. When I sit down with new partners for the first time, I was actually talking to Liz. We have a call with a new partner this afternoon that we just got under LOI. And my first call with them, intro call, obviously getting to know each other, but also introducing Deal Room to them, is we want to make it, we don't want them to be overwhelmed by it. If previously when we were throwing an Excel document or Excel template at them, a online data room, everything at them, it was overwhelming. So the last thing we want to do is overwhelm them. So being able to tell them, hey, here's Deal Room, here's how you navigate it. But all in all, if you just want to upload everything at once in here, that's all you need to know. On our end, it looks like, oh, well, we can just drop everything in Deal Room. This document organizer for Deal Room is going to go in there, put it in the task it should go in, put it in the folders it should go to, assign it to the people internally that it should go to, without us ever having to do anything. And on a new partner, it looks seamless for them to say, oh, I can just go and drag and drop thousands of files into Deal Room at once, and that's all they need from me. So to make it easy for them, and in turn let AI make it easy on us, has been huge for our team too.
Great. Yeah, we've seen that be a huge time savings on both ends. All right, next question. How has your team managed adoption amongst your team?
Really, I think it's probably, for me, my team would maybe call it beating a dead horse. But I've really just continued to reiterate to them the uses that AI can do. Kind of the same way with having the mindset of how to make it easier on the new partner, a better experience. I took that same kind of mindset with our team and said, hey, what can save y'all some time? Where are the hurdles y'all are experiencing? Some of them, yeah, it's just things that we can't control. Navigation with a new partner, communication, things like that. But when it comes down to things like, hey, our documents or our templates that we're using, or extracting information, things like that, those are all kind of buzzwords of, hey, we can knock those out immediately. So being able to say, to identify for our team kind of their hurdles, and me say, well, here's exactly how AI can help it. Let's sit down, walk through it, give us 15 minutes. Here's a use case of how that can help, not just saying, oh, you should go out there and research it. Here's actually how it can help, kind of guiding them, holding their hand. I think after that, it's every new partner we've seen, every experience we've had in Deal Room since then has been more and more positive from an adoption process.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mitchell. Oh, we got another question coming in. How can AI be used in quote unquote creative parts of negotiations in order to unlock certain choke points in a deal?
Absolutely. Really, okay, that's good, because a lot of times we're at the table, buyers are at the table with other buyers, they're competing. We do get a question a lot of what does the diligence process look like? Just for us to be able to get an LOI out, we are obtaining information from the new partner. We don't want them to be led astray and think that's all that we're going to need, because the entire closing process is a big one and time-consuming one. But being able to kind of sell, hey, this is what our closing process looks like. This is our timeline, and the reason we can stay on this timeline is because we utilize processes like this. And then be able to sell them on, when you're in there, you don't have